In today's video, I'm going to break down everything you can expect to happen to you in your first 14 days on the carnivore diet. First on the agenda, we're going to look at exactly what will happen to your body when you start eating the proper human diet. And then I'm going to break down the tangible benefits you'll experience and exactly how long it will take to experience each of these. Now, full disclaimer from the start, for some people, the first couple of weeks on carnivore, whilst you're adjusting, can be somewhat difficult. But after this period, it becomes incredibly easy to stick to. You just feel so incredible, you have so much energy, all the other food you're eating beforehand no longer appeals to you. When you first switch to carnivore, all of your inflammation starts to disappear. When you eat the regular standard American diet with all these highly inflammatory foods, every cell in your body becomes damaged. Humans are the only species smart enough to create our own food, but we're also the only species dumb enough to eat it. So what happens is when people eat certain things like sugars, starches, or just any plant in general that humans are not meant to consume, all of our cells become inflamed. And our cells are responsible for carrying out every bodily function, including creating our energy. This is why the average person seemingly has no energy. Their cells literally cannot function properly. However, when you eat the proper human diet, this reverses. When your body isn't functioning how it should, it can't make adequate amounts of hormones like dopamine and serotonin, which are responsible for making you feel happy. So as the inflammation starts to clear, you're going to start to feel amazing. For the first time in your life, your body is functioning how it's supposed to function. The first thing you're going to notice is the weight loss. This is instantaneous. Right at the start, you're going to drop a lot of water weight because you're not having carbohydrates. For every gram of carbohydrates that you eat, your body stores 3 grams of water, as well as the fact that when your body's inflamed, all your hormones are dysregulated, which causes you to retain even more water. Now, in theory, the immediate weight loss that you'll have in the first couple of days is only water weight. However, when you hold water, it looks like fat, even though it's not actually fat you're losing. Because this water weight and inflammation looks so similar to fat when you store it on your body, you may actually notice visible changes within the first few days. Some people notice within their first week on the carnivore diet that they look visibly different. The carnivore diet, or the proper human diet as it should be called, is in my opinion the best diet in the world for weight loss. I talked about this in great detail in a video I made the other day, which I'll link to at the end of this video. For most people, you should lose anywhere between 4 and 10 kilograms on carnivore in your first month, assuming that when you're hungry, you eat to your full and you're not having excessive amounts of dairy. The next thing you're going to notice is superhuman-like energy levels. But how long does this take to kick in? Well, when you first start, your body needs time to adapt. When you eat the standard American diet, your primary fuel source is carbohydrates. But when you switch to a carnivore diet, your primary fuel source is fats. So during this time, you may experience something known as the keto flu. Now, the keto flu is exactly as its name suggests. In fact, whoever decided to name this really did not put much thought into it. Essentially, you're switching into ketosis, which is a fancy way of saying your body's now running on fats, and you experience flu-like symptoms whilst you're adjusting. Hence, keto flu. Now, some people don't experience this at all, but for others it can last up to 2 weeks. For me personally, I had a headache that lasted for about half an hour, and then I woke up the next morning feeling incredible. However, as soon as you get through this adaptation phase, you start to have unbelievable energy levels. Seriously, it's hard to comprehend the tangible energy difference that you feel. Before I started carnivore, I had the regular energy levels of any 20-year-old. They were pretty decent, but I seriously struggled to get up in the morning. However, since I've been on carnivore, now I wake up at 4 AM before my alarm goes off with an obscene amount of energy. I literally never get tired unless I'm seriously sleep deprived, and on days where I have nothing on, I want to work out all day. So as soon as you get through the adaptation phase, you're just going to feel incredible because all this inflammation clears and your cells can function properly, and therefore they can produce the amount of energy that the human body should. Another thing you'll start to experience within these 14 days is zero hunger. When you eat carbohydrates, it breaks down to glucose, which causes a spike in your blood sugar levels. Now the problem with this is when it comes crashing back down, it doesn't just stop at its baseline level, it goes below this baseline level. And what happens then is your body thinks that it's run out of fat. It literally thinks that you're going to die. This is why you get that hangry sensation about 3 to 4 hours after you eat some carbohydrates. Another reason you experience no hunger is because you become something known as fat adapted. Now, what I'm about to explain sounds like some serious bro science, but believe me, this is a real thing. When you eat carbohydrates, your body runs on carbohydrates. When you eat fats, your body runs on fats. Now, when you eat carbohydrates and you run out of carbohydrates, your body's not very effective at tapping into its own fat because it's not used to it. However, when you're fat adapted, meaning it's used to running on fats, guess what happens when you run out of fats it's consumed? It can very easily tap into your own body fat. So you literally never get hungry. When I first started the carnivore diet, I remember thinking to myself, geez, I don't seem to get hungry. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to see how long it takes for me to get hungry. Fast forward 2.5 days of not eating. I kind of got a bit bored and I was like, you know what? I want to eat something. But literally 2.5 days without any hunger. It's incredible. So as soon as you get through the adjustment period, you'll almost never get hungry. However, I did notice that as I got leaner and leaner, every now and then I'd get this almost like hunger-like feeling. It's not the classic hunger you're used to experiencing on the standard American diet. It's more like, my energy's a little bit low, and I reckon if I ate some food right now, my energy would increase slightly. But you're never truly hungry. Another positive that you'll notice in these first 14 days is that you'll start to feel less anxious. Like I explained at the start, when you eat inflammatory foods, it causes your body to become inflamed and just everything doesn't function how it should. Most people's guts are just destroyed from the poison they put in it, and your gut is responsible for making many of the hormones that make you happy and make you feel calm. For example, 90% of serotonin is made in the gut. Now, when people are depressed, they prescribe them a drug known as SSRIs, which its main purpose is to increase their serotonin levels. So when your gut goes from being damaged and therefore not able to make serotonin properly, to having all of this inflammation cleared and it working properly, you can only imagine how it's going to make you feel. So as soon as your gut starts to heal, you're going to notice your mood increases. Now, for some people, this literally happens in a couple of days. Now we're going to talk about some of the negative things you might experience. First up, stomach issues. When you first start the carnivore diet, you may get diarrhea. The main reason for this is that your body can't yet produce enough bile to break down the fat you're consuming. Now, when you start the carnivore diet, you're going to increase the amount of fat you're eating. However, for fat to be absorbed, it requires something called bile. Over time, as you consume more and more fat, your body also upregulates the amount of bile it makes so that this fat can be absorbed. However, at the start, before your body starts to upregulate the amount of bile it makes, a lot of the fat you eat just simply cannot be absorbed, so it goes straight through you. As well as the fact that your gut just needs time to adjust. If you were carnivore your whole life, and then you switch to a vegan diet, you would experience the same issue. Now, about 50% of people experience this, and for most, it lasts no more than a couple of weeks. So please believe me when I say, for your first couple of weeks, you probably want to keep a bathroom nearby. And if you do experience this, please remind yourself this does not last for long. I remember when this happened to me, I nearly called it quits. I was driving on the highway with some woman I knew, and I remember thinking to myself, oh dear, this is not ideal. Luckily, my apartment was nearby and I managed to style off, pretending I had something important I need to grab. So I raced inside, and whilst I was sitting there reconsidering all of my life decisions up until this point, I nearly called it quits right then and there. Some people also experience constipation. Now, if you're truly constipated, this can literally be solved just by having more fat. However, do note that because you're not eating all this inflammatory garbage, your body just has a lot less waste. So a lot of people find that they need to use the bathroom a lot less frequently. It's not uncommon for people on carnivore to only go number 2 every 3 to 5 days. So if you haven't gone to the bathroom for a few days and you don't feel like you need to go, you aren't constipated. The next negative thing that some people experience is keto flu. So basically, you might experience some flu-like symptoms like headaches, nausea for anywhere between 0 and 10 days. Some people don't experience this at all, and some people, they struggle with this a bit. In order to mitigate symptoms for this, I recommend that you eat enough, eat till you're full, and to make sure you're putting a lot of salt on your meat. When you first enter a low carbohydrate state, your kidneys excrete more electrolytes. So make sure you're putting heaps of salt on your meat, way more than you usually would. The final thing you may experience in your first 14 days on the carnivore diet is cravings. Now, cravings are nothing more than a psyop from your brain. The processed foods that people eat nowadays are designed by teams of scientists to hit something known as the bliss point. Now, these scientists are incredibly good at their jobs. So what happens is you eat this stuff and you get tremendous amounts of pleasure from it, which releases a hormone known as dopamine. Now, humans are literally wired in a way to avoid as much pain as possible and to seek as much pleasure as possible. So your brain does whatever it can to feel pleasure. It does everything it possibly can to trick you into eating this stuff. And the worst part is that your brain always has the tactical advantage over you. It knows all of your weaknesses. It knows that there's this one food that you just really like, and that if it pops it into your brain, you'll want it so badly that you'll have it and it'll get its pleasure. The best thing about this is that after 2 weeks, your brain forgets how much dopamine it got from something. So if you can get through 2 weeks, you won't think about it again. This is why I get so annoyed with dorks online telling people the only way to get rid of your food addiction is to let yourself have it when you want it. It genuinely makes no fundamental sense. Why would you want to eat that stuff again to re-trigger the reward pathways? All you have to do is tough it out for 2 weeks and you'll never want that stuff again. Believe me, at one stage in my life, I considered myself a foodie. I love food very much. And when I first went on carnivore, I slipped off many times. However, now I don't even think about that stuff at all. In fact, I'm even at the point where that stuff genuinely repulses me. Like if I walk through the wrong aisle at the supermarket, I just start to get angry even looking at it. So all you have to do is win the mental battle for 2 weeks and you don't have to worry about these cravings again. For some people, you won't experience these at all, however. Anyway, that concludes today's video. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more of my content, consider subscribing down below. It's completely free and it means you'll see more videos like this. Earlier in the video, I made a very bold statement in claiming that the carnivore diet is the greatest fat loss diet in the world. So I'll link the video right here that breaks down why exactly I believe this. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.